Now, with life, you can't always predict what's going to happen, and certainly last Friday, no one really predicted just how bad things would get in Auckland with the huge amount of rain that people experienced, and of course flooding and subsequent things from there on in. How do we process something like this? If we've been through something massive, how do we go about then thinking and processing it emotionally, spiritually, and all of those things? Joining us on the show to talk about this, Tanya Unkovic, welcome.
Hello, hello. Good to
Tanya,
be here.
first up, how are you guys doing? I'm sure your cat's very unimpressed with all the rain, but have you guys been safe and not inundated?
Well, thank God we are. The cat doesn't want to get his paws out on the wet floor, so he's being a real young gentleman.
Yep.
We've got friends who are not okay, though.
Oh,
They're really
gosh.
flooded, and so, yeah, that was heartbreaking for them on Saturday morning. But we're fine, thank you.
I know a lot of people have been doing what they can to chip in and help others as well. Actually, I've learned this from you with previous disasters we've talked about. That's something which is very good for your resilience, thinking of others and chipping in and helping them.
Absolutely. You know, when I think of the people who helped us when our home flooded, it helps you in those first days of shock. When you're in shock, you just want someone to put their arms around you and comfort you and say, this will be okay. Because when you're in shock, it's just, you can't think straight. And you even go into moments of, we'll never recover from this. I can't see the silver lining here. But when you've got someone around you embracing you and telling you it'll be okay, it really does matter.
So, Tanya, let's talk about something that, that may happen in someone's life that is unprecedented, that they cannot prepare for. Because there's been a number of those experiences over the last few years. You think of the Christchurch earthquakes, you think of COVID, you think of the lockdowns and then subsequent lockdowns. How do we keep processing this kind of stuff when it seems to just keep happening?
Yeah, it does. And, we are building that muscle of resilience, aren't we? And we have to somehow reframe it and go, okay, we are well, we are healthy, we haven't lost our lives. You have to find the good in everything, even in the midst of suffering. But also be mindful that your emotions are going to go up and down. Of course,
Yeah.
you're going to go through that process of anger and, hysteria at times. And then you'll slump into feeling very low. So just be mindful that that will happen and allow yourself to go in those ebbs and flows, but also just know I will get through this and not be frightened by your range of emotions, for example. It is normal.
In terms of the initial reaction, it can be quite exciting, bit of euphoria even. But as things, I suppose, ease back a little bit, there's the temptation to self-medicate in various ways, to hit the comfort foods, or perhaps even something else to calm our nerves. That can be a bit of a trap in these circumstances.
Absolutely, especially when you fall off that high, that initial high, the adrenaline rush, you physically and emotionally collapse. So when you're down there, you're going, I need to get back up again. I need to find some energy. I need to feel better. So it's very normal to reach for food, to reach for alcohol, to reach for anything, to get that instant fix to soothe you. Because the reality is, you're also, for many people, unfortunately, they're looking at a pile of rubble and rubbish. And so you look at that and you go, oh my God, I can't face this. I need to reach for something and soothe my pain. I'm going to invite you to not do that, because this is not going to fix the first problem. Eating and drinking and over anything isn't going to take the pain away. It's just going to create another problem for you.
It's so interesting. Last week, Tanya, we were talking about New Year's resolutions and goals and hopes for the future. Honestly, something like this, something like the floods that have happened, can absolutely throw you when it comes to this. You go, well, what's the point? I had all this, and the year's turning to custard already.
Yeah, yeah. Look, we don't need to create an explosion where it could just be a bump, and okay, so maybe your health and fitness regime isn't going to go as planned over the next week or two, but it doesn't mean to say that you go on an all week bender, you know? It doesn't mean you go from one extreme to the other. Just so, okay, I'm just going to maintain. I'm going to make sure I remain on an even keel, because the more I can remain on that even keel, the better my decisions will be. And that's ultimately what you want. You want to be thinking clearly during this time. You want to make good decisions. You've probably got children relying on you or others, you know? So it's absolutely about staying on that emotional even keel and knowing, you know, this too will pass. One day at a time, this will pass.
Important to not throw in the towel in these circumstances, because you probably need the towel to dry the floor of your flooded garage, right?
For sure. We need it all, don't we? Gosh, all that water.
Exactly. Now, sorry to make light of, I know what is a horrific situation, but we just wanted to pick up on one of the points that you made about being strong for other people. Again, that can really allow us to dig deep when it comes to our resilience. If it's just for us, it can be sometimes easier to give up. But when we know that others are relying on us, or even that we're perhaps an example and a role model for other people, that can give us the inner strength to rise above what is a temporary difficulty when we think of things, I suppose, in the medium to long term.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, don't forget, the people who have really struggled during this time and lost plenty, they will need your support in a month's time, in 2 months' time. Just say, how are you going? So let's all remember to just even put in our diary, check in on so-and-so in a month's time, check in on so-and-so in 2 months' time, because that is when they just may need us.
Yeah, I mean, that is a really, really good point, because, yes, for many people, this isn't just a one weekend thing. This is something that's going to affect them for a lot longer. Thank you so much for being a part of today's show, Tanya. Thank you for your wisdom here when it comes to it. Sometimes I think that we don't realize just how much of an impact these things are going to have on us. So just being able to name it and go, actually, this was a traumatic time, and then to, you know, go from there in terms of how we then respond to it. It is so very important. Thanks again for your thoughts.
You are welcome.
Thanks, Tanya. Bye-bye.
Bye.